The fact that the accident happened the way that it did, it just felt such a waste. You know, he was just walking home from church, and then this person, for no reason at all, just hit him on the zebra crossing. And so it just seemed like a series of terrible decisions that led to my father dying. So my father Ron was, I'd say, a special guy, with a caring man. He had his nursing career. He took handicapped children to Illtyd on an annual basis when him and my mother were well. He drove for social services, picking up foster children and taking them to school after he retired. He also helped children whose English was a second language learn to read, as well as being the treasurer at the rugby club and the treasurer in the Catholic Church. And then the last year of his life, he'd started going to the gym twice a week, which he loved. It sort of changed his life a bit, really. So he was a really fit and well 82-year-old. And obviously he had his children and then grandchildren and then great-grandchildren, which, you know, that was probably the highlight of his life, and he loved spending time with all of them. So I knew he was going to Mass Christmas Eve, and then we were here, my daughter and her fiance stayed. So we just had a lovely Christmas Eve, got up Christmas morning, opened the presents as we did. So around about 10 o'clock, we were going up to my son's house to see my grandson and open his presents. And just as we were leaving, I had a message from one of my cousins saying, I hope Ron's all right. So then she said he'd been in an accident and that the police were trying to get in touch with me. So I said, well, give them my number. And as we got to my son's house, the phone rang, and it was a police officer saying, you know, your father's been in an accident, he's in a bad way, and you need to get down to UHW, the Heath Hospital, as soon as possible. So myself, my daughter and her fiance drove down to the Heath, where we were met by one of the consultants who found out quickly we were all in healthcare and told us straight that we were very unlikely to get him back. So by 11:30 Christmas morning, when my wife and my son and my two nephews joined us, we sat down and just said, you know, he's gone, really, and we're going to have to make a decision about turning off his life support. It was as if it was like living in a nightmare for the family, because you just it didn't sink in because of how it happened, and I suppose the effect of everybody else around you. Everybody else was falling apart, and we were just like stuck in the middle, trying to get through it day by day. And it was, I think, only later when you really realise what you've lost. It's just that's, whereas Christmas normally would be something really good to look forward to, now is that sense of dread, because you know what's coming and who's not going to be there. I think if anyone's making the decision to either drink and drive or take drugs or drive, it's a no-win situation, for the simple sake of a decision that'll take seconds. You are possibly going to ruin your own life as well as somebody else's.